quite honest, I don't know a lot about the Women's Institute, but I do get the impression that it's for the older women rather than a younger person like myself.
Well, I really don't know anything about it. I thought it was for older women. Women's Institute? I've never heard of them.
My mother's a member and she goes sometimes, and I get the impression that they make tea and cakes and jam.
My impression of it is a lot of old ladies sitting over teacups. As I am shortly to marry a parson and go to the far north of Scotland, I'm afraid I shall have to know something about it.
Is the WI today relevant only to isolated areas? Now that country people have access to town amenities, can this mean the end for the local village meetings?
And now, passing on to the county monthly letter, there are
Hardly the end. The local Women's Institute meeting, held in the schoolroom or village hall, is a firm monthly fixture, part of life for nearly 500,000 countrywomen. Those outside are seldom fully aware of what goes on in the WI or of what the movement stands for. The business of the day comes first. The elected president and secretary dispatch the formalities with an informal efficiency that'd stagger their husband.
Well, has anybody else got anything they'd like to bring up?
Yes, I have a question. A very serious, well, I think very serious question. I've heard that they're going to take the early morning bus service to take the workers into town off. Now, I think this is very serious and will put a lot of people to inconvenience. Now, I was wondering if the WI could do anything about it.
Yes, that is a fact, for those of you who don't yet know.
In the past, being village folk has sometimes meant being overlooked by the powers that be. The WI has helped change this. It's given the so-called weaker sex a stronger hand in local matters. Together, they're a body. But they joined as individuals. And as many as there are individuals, there are reasons for being here.
Really, the main reason I joined the Women's Institute was because of the dressmaking classes they were running. I picked up lots of tips and find it a very profitable hobby.
Well, I vowed I'd never join the WI, but here I am. I've made a lot of new friends, and I don't regret it.
And the best thing I get out of it is the doing of these things together. If you like, sharing interest.
Well, my interest is judo, and that's not everybody's cup of tea.
Well, I know I'm old-fashioned, but you know, really, I quite like cooking and jam making and preserving, etc. I find it economical as well. Well, I must confess I don't really like cooking, although, of course, I have to do it. But then, you see, the WI fosters a lot of other interests besides cooking.
I'll tell you what I can, to get away from the family.
A cup of tea and a good old natter is enjoyed as part of every meeting. There are more than 8,600 local institutes. The pattern of their meetings is similar, varying only in detail from village to village. Most are held, as you might expect, in rural settings. But where urban developments are rolling out into the countryside, local WIs are there, successfully meeting the needs of the growing number of new country dwellers. Half a million members sounds a lot, but when possibly 10 million women, like these in East Anglia, live in the country, then you realize membership is potentially much greater. It would be greater if it were not for the ifs and the buts.
I've got a full-time job, I work in a printer's, and I have a husband to look after. It gives me no time for joining clubs or other activities.
One trouble with the WI is that a lot of the older women join. If many of the younger wives joined, I think you would find that it would become more modern.
The majority of young people wouldn't join because they have so many other things to do.
The meetings in this area are not always convenient to everyone.
My mum back in Yorkshire's been a very keen member of the WI for I don't know how many years now. But since we've had the baby, what with one thing and another, I haven't really had time to join.
Time, they say in Yorkshire, is what you make it. And neither families nor babies are entirely new. First impressions, what's more, are often misleading. Members who know the WI well don't think of it as a pensioners' tea party.
People think that it's all cups of tea and gossiping, but I don't find it so. They do an awful lot of good for old age pensioners and the village in general. And when I moved, I didn't know anyone, but now I know everyone and got a lot of friends.
Even a member with countrywide experience of the WI is still surprised by the variety of interests at local meetings.
I've been a member of an Anglesey WI ever since I married and came to live in the country. And I'm still surprised by what I find. Perhaps in the same institute, you might find an Egyptologist or a research chemist. And almost certainly you'll find a member who's just been to London for the first time in her life, to go to our Albert Hall meeting. There, in the primary schoolroom, you may see a display of members' works with a superb piece of needlework or an abstract painting. In an age of age groups, I think the WI is one of the very few places where age is quite unimportant. In the countryside itself, I believe our biggest job in the future will be to welcome the enormous increase in the number of visitors and newcomers, to learn to share the countryside with them.
My family and I are a part of a new kind of village life. We prefer country living. We like the space and the peace of the country. But at the moment, it's impossible for us to live here all the time. Our employment keeps us in town 5 days a week, and we can only spend weekends and holidays here.
About 3.5 years ago, we retired from Cambridge and came to live in the country here at Ashley, thinking there would be absolutely nothing to do when we got here. We thought we were going to be just dead alive, and we found it just the reverse, didn't we?
More alive than dead.
There's plenty of doing. There's never a dull moment, really. I was roped in for the WI as soon as I got here, and actually I didn't know the first thing about it. I'd never even heard of it in the town.
New people to the village means that those who work there have to adapt their methods to the new social climate.
Since we've been in the village, there have been many changes. We in the hotel industry have to make similar changes ourselves. Surely I feel that people in the other village industries and organizations will have to make changes themselves in order to keep up with the future.
But some villages, however, only have a past.
But the changes, if I started to tell you, well, it'd take me all day and all the night, I think, really. And that's telling you the truth, because one could never understand it. They couldn't understand a little village like this could die.
This used to be the loveliest village you could find in Suffolk. And there wasn't a better one anywhere. And you didn't want to go out for anything. You could get everything you wanted in this village.
Even the people have changed. The children have changed. There's nothing the same, and never will be.
The passing of a way of life. But changes can be for the better.
Of course, country women have changed, just as the countryside itself has changed since 1915. And we ourselves have helped to bring about many of these changes. Electricity and water and telephones. And as our numbers have increased, so has our influence with government departments and with local authorities. And I believe that in the future, we shall command increasing respect, because we can provide an impartial and a non-party political view on such matters as health and the education of our children, and on international understanding.
A changing country social scene, yes, but one in which the WI, far from being irrelevant, has an increasingly important role to play. One forum in which the future is actively under consideration is the WI County Committee. Any group the size of the WI to be organised must have organisers. Here, tomorrow's meetings are planned. This is the intermediate stage of the organisation, a bridge between local and national levels, and a source of initiative in its own right.
We can discuss that at our meeting next week, Mrs. Ritchie, all right? Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll now pass on to the next item of business, which concerns our membership drive. And I'll ask the chairman of organisation to report.
Madam Chairman, very good news. I'm sure you'll be delighted to know that our membership in the county this year has gone up by 500. And we have formed 9 new institutes.
Very good news, but I don't think we should be too self-satisfied over it. I was wondering whether we shouldn't make a survey of the county to see where gaps exist.
Well, Madam Chairman, sure we know most of this information, but I would like to ask, could we know where these new institutes are?
Well, 3 are on new housing estates, 2 are second institutes in villages, and...
Surely, Madam Chairman, now that we've got these new members, it is important that we keep them and keep them interested.
I think we are on the right line.
It's the way in which the institutes in a county are linked together that enables us to find out the wishes of all our members. It's possible for a member in the remotest village to raise a problem which may appear merely of local interest. But if it's found to be shared by many others, action can be taken with the backing of thousands of our members. Together, we can usually make ourselves heard. And what is more important, get ourselves listened to.
What a pity we can't get rid of this outdated, old-fashioned image of ourselves. People still seem to think of us as drinking tea and putting the most number of things in a matchbox.
There's a lot of talk nowadays about presenting an image. Well, the image of the WI is important, and it's the responsibility of every single member. But because we have this strong, well-established chain of communication at county and national levels, we're able to present a more complete picture of ourselves to the public at large. We mount exhibitions which show the whole county what the WI is about and what it can do. Some fabulous work is produced. We arrange competitions and courses and provide expert judges and instructors to ensure that our standards are kept high.
Stop, Mary. Let's take it again, shall we? More furtive this time, remember? Right.
But the important thing about county activities is that they make a greater number of people aware that they belong to or can join something which is strong and alive. Rising membership all over the country reflects this situation. Nothing succeeds like success, and the WI is successful. Perhaps the surest pointer to its success lies in its awareness of the fact that more of tomorrow's women will be better educated than ever before. They will want new activities for their lively, inquiring minds. We've set up our own college to enable our members to take advantage of this great future.
At Denman College, we run short residential courses in handicrafts, painting, local government, jazz, almost anything, in fact, that members are interested in. Courses, too, for those who take on any responsibility within the Federation. The purpose of the college is to give people the opportunity to study their own subject more deeply or to learn something entirely new. And we try to see that they have the best possible tuition available here.
Brenda, I thought that was very good. She focused her points beautifully, briefly, and clearly. But remember...
Well, I nearly didn't come to Denman College at all. It was such a job arranging things at home. But now that I have come, I wouldn't have missed it for the world. In fact, it's an experience that no WI member should miss. I'm not really very good at this, but it's a thing I've always wanted to do. When I decided to apply to come on this course at Denman College, I had many misgivings. But now I'm here, I find that painting together in a group is one of the most enjoyable things about it.
The course is on country houses. The lecture is very good. Denman is in fact a beautiful country house itself. The nicest thing, though, is meeting the other people here. They come from all over the country, and some from abroad as well. We all have the WI in common, and this is a real bond.
Well, not exactly difficult, but my husband hates me leaving home, you know, for anything. I tell him I'd be frightfully dull if I stayed home all the time, so he's got to lump it.
I do wish more young people would take the plunge and come to Denman College, because it's very good for you sociably, and we do learn such a lot here.
People in general think that the Women's Institute just learn to do the household things. But I think the day is coming now that women get out in the world more and mix more, that we should broaden our outlooks, be more intellectual.
Yes.
And a lot of members don't know that we are affiliated to the Associated Country Women of the World. There are women's institutes and women's societies all over the world that are joined into this association. And I do feel that in a way it is working towards peace, that all the women of the world should get together.
Yes. Indeed, not all WI activity is towards members' self-improvement. Institutes everywhere recognize a responsibility to the community at large. In an age when the social services seem to deal with all our needs, there's often still something missing, something that can only be met by simple kindness and thoughtfulness. The WI helps with social service wherever it can. Each village makes different demands on their goodwill. Be it youth, the elderly, or the sick, they know they can expect help because the WI has been in their midst, a part of community life for as long as most people can remember. revolution has been the setting up of women's institutes within mental hospitals, a welcome therapy of new interests. It may be a far cry from Anglesey to the Albert Hall, but the annual general meeting of the WI shows that members don't have mud on their Wellingtons all the time. This yearly convention is one indication of how far the WI has come in 50 years. Resolutions approved here can influence public life right across the nation. The National Federation of Women's Institutes headquarters in London also puts the WI on the map as a national movement. In overall charge is an executive committee under the national chairman. How does this essentially rural association use a London office and a permanent staff? From her own home, the chairman explains.
They've got the vast job of coordinating the interests and activities of the whole membership and getting these wishes across to the government, who in their turn rarely do take notice of what we do.
I am pleading for this most important resolution to discover cervical cancer in time.
Cervical cancer tests may prove to be another successful national resolution to be first aired in the Albert Hall. Others include inflammable nightwear, country communications, and the anti-litter campaign, questions that were raised by us, followed up in our press, and acted on by the government. On the other side of the coin, they like to consult us because they know that with our experience, we've got something really valuable to give them. But this isn't going to be any use. We're not going to offer anything to the government or anyone else if we're not up to it, if we're not with it for the present-day problems.
Do you realise many more thousands of people die from the effects of smoking? Is this right? Oughtn't we to demand that the government do something about this?
Surely it is not for our movement to be a killjoy. The pleasures of smoking are part of our individual freedom as responsible adult women.
Our young controversy may surround the WI at national level. Apathy and even antagonism from people in the street. There is no pat answer to the problems of a group 500,000 strong. If we are to meet tomorrow, if we are to build Jerusalem, the solutions must and will come democratically from each and every individual. I've been a member for 16 years, and I've been lucky enough to enjoy a surprising range of interests in my own WI and in the more hectic atmosphere of the National Federation. All being well, I hope to enjoy many, many more years of fun and hard work, because it's a very exciting time. There's a real challenge. The countryside is changing, and a lot of new people are coming to live in our midst. They've got a great deal to give us, and we've got quite a lot to give them. But they're going to give us new interests, new ideas, and friendships. And we welcome them.
Whatever the future has in store, in its unassuming way, the WI continues to adapt itself to a new society. You can be sure the WI will be meeting tomorrow.